Hi guys, it's Babs with Listen to Your Inner You. My website is listentoyourinneryou.com. You can book sessions on there and it'll show up in your own time zone, so I would love to help you. Just book on there. I have a donation link below, and other than that, let's start the video. Today is about, drumroll, you're doing it right. You are doing it right. If you constantly feel like you're not doing it right, then that's a belief. It actually can be a belief. It actually is an indication that you have core beliefs that are off, because the negative core beliefs actually very commonly create the belief that you're not doing it right, and it feels like whatever you do is wrong. And you walk around in your life always feeling like it just doesn't feel right. You constantly get criticized and you constantly feel like you're doing it wrong. Well, that's just a belief. If you've already changed your core beliefs, or if you haven't, try to change the belief that you're doing it right anyway, because you are doing it right. No matter what you do, you want it to be right? Because it feels awful to constantly think that you're not doing it right. You deserve it. We all deserve it. So I accept that I'm afraid I'm not doing it right. I accept that I don't think I'm doing it right. I accept that I feel like I'm doing it wrong. Whatever the wording is, find it. Find the right wording and it'll make you upset, because acceptance will make you upset, and then you accept it a couple times and also accept how you feel about it. Feel all the emotions. I accept that I feel like I'm doing it wrong, or I accept that I'm not doing it right, or I accept that I feel like I'm not doing it right, and then cry, let it out, or don't cry. And then go, it makes me feel frustrated and sad and feel like a failure. Let it all out. Acknowledge all the emotions that come with it, right? That's how you deactivate a current in-place story or belief. And then you start going, what if I am doing it right? And then you can turn it into, I am doing it right. I love what ifs to introduce it into the next section or the next stage of the actual belief or story. What if is a little more gentle and it feels better, because you always want to go feel better. That's one of the few things I actually do like about Abraham Hicks, is that scale of feeling a little better. You don't have to go from feeling awful to feeling amazing, because that's pretty hard. But you can go from feeling awful to a little less awful, to a little less awful, blah, 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 blah. Look at that scale, right? And I like that, because that is more realistic and it actually goes pretty quickly. Because if you look from from awful to awesome, it's a big jump and it feels almost like it's impossible. But when you just take one step at a time, just like with anxiety, you take one step at a day, 1 hour at a day, it feels a lot more doable and you work through it much faster. I don't know if you've seen that image. It's an image and it goes around on the internet all the time, and Facebook a lot. If you're a lot younger than me, then you may not even be using Facebook. I heard that's out now. But it's a guy on the left, a stick figure on the left and a stick figure on the right, and they both have a ladder. The one on the left is a ladder with big steps in between, and the one on the right has little steps. And the one on the right is going much faster because he's taking one little step at a time, and he can actually reach these steps. They're reachable, they're doable. Whereas the one on the left, the ladder steps are so far apart he can't even reach them. It feels unreachable. So do one thing at a time, just feel better a little bit at a time. Anyway, so you go, I accept it, blah, 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 I accept how I feel about it, say all the emotions out loud, and you go, I'm doing it right. What if I'm doing it right? What if I am doing it right? It automatically actually goes from what if to the actual thing. Oh, I am doing it right. So you change the belief. This one may take a while. This may take a couple of weeks. It won't take 6 months. If it's not changing within a month or two, then you probably want to address the actual beliefs that are causing it, which is I'm worth it, I'm good enough, I'm deserving. You have to do those three together for sure. They go together. You can't single them out. But for now, if you just want to change, you're not seeing anything happen in your manifestations and you constantly notice that nothing is happening, comes from it's not working, comes from I'm doing it wrong. So these three also go together because they get created by one another. There's always a bigger belief that creates a ton of other beliefs or stories or fears or something, and a lot of attachment. So you are doing it right. Whatever you're doing it right. As long as you follow your gut, that gut feeling, right? That's that inner you saying, hey, you're doing it right. Do that, because what feels right is only right to you. It doesn't have to be right for someone else. And don't let anyone else tell you what is right for you ever. If people are saying that person isn't right for you, but the person feels right for you, at least for right now, do that, because there's always a lesson behind it. There's always a reason why you're drawn to your desires. So follow your desires and do the work that you need to do and follow what feels good, because right and wrong is only specific to you and no one else. Even if they're you pushed out, they are still their own person in their universe. You are them pushed out. So you got to look at it that way. You're only going off of your world and what you need to do to feel better. This is what I want you to do. So you follow your gut, what feels right. And this is really, really big and important in manifesting. How I teach manifesting is following what feels right. You identify stories and attachment and all of that this way. What feels right? Is that the right story? Is that the right turnaround for the story? Because it's all about feeling. It is about feeling. Manifestation is huge about feeling and not affirmation looping, because that's just kind of bland. So you're going into a lot of emotional work. Manifesting is very emotional. You're judging the process by how you feel all the time and what you're doing and how you're feeling about it. That's how manifesting works. That's how I teach it, and it works pretty much all the time. If it doesn't work, then I'm doing something wrong, right? Then that is in place, but you're always doing it right. And I want you to put that belief into place, because you are doing it right. Whatever you're doing, even if you're affirmation looping and it's worked for you in the past, however you did the affirmation looping, it worked because you gave your mind enough time to do affirmations and detaching and resistance work. I've had people that had good success with affirmation looping, but I can guarantee you almost that they didn't just affirmation loop. They actually addressed resistance and detaching, because your mind has to do that in order to get to the end result. Because there's a reason why we crave these things, to work through that and become a different version of you, a better version of you, always being better. You're always working towards being better automatically. No one is asking this of you. This is you pushing yourself all the time by all these desires that we have. They push you to be a better version of you all the time, because you're always a different person by the time you start a manifestation, and by the time you get the manifestation, you're a different person. You've shifted multiple times. So again, all I'm saying is you're doing it right. Put that belief into place. First, deactivate the current belief, and then activate the new one by doing the affirmations until it kicks in and it's true. So you are doing it right. So follow your gut. Right is it feels good. Wrong is it doesn't feel so good. And wrong could feel like a little twinge. It could be in this area. It could be in your gut area. That's up to you. But you're going off of feeling. Does it feel good, or does it feel, I don't know yet? Then don't act on it. If you don't know yet, give yourself time. There's never, ever a rush. If you feel rushed, take 10 steps back and reevaluate, because we should never feel rushed. If we feel rushed, then it's probably not the right decision to do. And this is something you learn greatly when you work through I'm worth it, I'm good enough, I'm deserving. You learn how to not make rushed decisions, because they're usually not healthy for us. There's never a rush. As soon as other people rush us or we rush ourselves, something is off, because we're on a natural level, we're pretty laid back people, and we go with the flow, and going with the flow is never a rushed thing. So as soon as you feel rushed or someone is rushing you, take a step back. There is no hurry, unless there's a life-threatening emergency, obviously. But even then, listen to your gut. The people that can't make up their mind, they're just scared of not following their gut or doing the wrong decision, right? But if you set the belief that you're doing it right, it is so much easier to then make decisions all the time on the spot. Even, and I'm not saying rush decision, but faster decisions where you feel confident. Yeah, this is what I want because I'm doing it right. And even if for right now I make that decision and then it seems like it goes the wrong direction, you still had to go that wrong direction in order to figure out what the right direction is. So you never really go in the wrong direction. Nothing is ever really wrong, because the wrong teaches you or shows you what you really want, and then you go in the right direction. So both are really important. They go together. So therefore, you can never do anything wrong, because you're always doing it right, even if you're doing it wrong, because wrong sometimes indicates and shows you what you don't want. Sometimes you have to figure out what you don't want in order to figure out what you want. That is a very natural process. So yeah, you're always doing it right, and I want you to change that belief, because it's a very, very common belief, especially with crappy core beliefs. This is a big belief. Not a core belief, but it's a big belief. So please change it, with or without changing core beliefs. Try it right now just as its own belief, and ignore everything else. But if you see that things aren't happening or not working, that's the belief. You're doing it right. You are always doing it right. You're doing what's right for you. I hope this helped. Have a wonderful day.